So friends, let's start with today's lovely and easy to prepare marzipan recipe. So here I've taken 200 grams of cashew nuts and I've soaked them in some water for about an hour. Then we are also going to separate the egg from the yolk. We're only going to use the egg white for this recipe. Now I'm going to grind the cashew nuts using a little bit of the water in which it was soaked to a very fine paste. So it should be a nice and fine paste like this. So this is our cashew nut paste. This is the consistency we're looking for. I'm going to be using 200 grams of powdered sugar. This is the one egg white, and I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of almond essence. If you don't have almond essence, you can go with vanilla essence too. Now first I'm going to beat the egg white a little, and then I'm going to add that to the cashew nut paste and mix it in well. I'm also going to add the essence and mix the three very well together. This is a super simple recipe and it takes much lesser time than the milk cream recipe which I uploaded. This gets ready quite fast. So now I'm going to use a heavy bottom pan and I'm going to add this mixture to the pan. I'm going to turn on the heat to a very low to medium heat. I'm also going to add the powdered sugar. Mix everything in really well. And now all we have to do is just keep stirring this mixture on a low to medium heat till everything comes together, really well, and also so it starts to leave the sides of the pan. Now you can use a wooden spoon with a long handle because this liquid also starts to splutter like the milk cream recipe. I'll leave a link to all my other Christmas recipes down in the description box as well as the comment section box below, so you can go and check them out. So now just keep stirring till the mixture leaves the sides of the pan. This should take you about 2 to 3 minutes. And then you'll get a thick mixture like this. And then within about 10 minutes, your mixture will thicken like this. So now we're going to do the water test. I've just taken some water. And if you're able to form a smooth ball, that means your mixture is ready. So just use room temperature water, and then just take a little of it and just roll it into a ball. And you can see that it's a nice firm ball. So our mixture is ready. Now I'm going to transfer it to a steel plate. You can use a glass plate also and let it cool completely. Don't try to handle the mixture because it is piping hot. Now once it has completely cooled down, you're just going to knead it a bit with a little, you can add a few drops of ghee or clarified butter to smoothen it out, and then just knead it into a very smooth dough. And then we're just going to make it, divide them into smaller balls because we're going to add some lovely color to the marzipan. So I went with some nice light, pink and a little bit of green and a little bit of pastel yellow, as you can see. And then all you have to do is make them into very small balls like this and put them into a mold, whatever mold you have available, your choice of mold. You can use the thick rubber ones or these silicone ones also. And this dough is so easy to work with, the marzipan dough, that you can easily form these lovely little marzipans. And also the shelf life of these marzipans are really long, so you can store them in an airtight container of steel or glass, and you can keep them in the refrigerator. They last for about almost 2 to 3 weeks in the refrigerator, and whenever you want to serve them, just thaw them or just keep them out for about 15 minutes and you're all set to go. So I hope you like today's recipe, and I hope you give it a try, guys. I'll catch you soon in my next recipe. Take care. Bye. Now here I've taken a heavy bottomed pan and I'm going to be heating 1 liter of milk. Here I have measured 450 grams of sugar, We can transfer this to a bowl. Now we have to boil the milk till it reduces to half on a low to medium flame. We're going to use a wooden spoon with a long handle. Now I'm going to be measuring 100 grams of cashew nuts. We're going to also be using this kind of a milk cream rubber mold. This is the silicone mold, but this is the authentic, the real milk cream mold. Now we're going to grind this cashew nut to a powder using the blitz function. Otherwise, you will get a paste. Now you can transfer this to another bowl. Now our milk has started to boil, so we're going to stir a bit, scraping the edges of the pan. Otherwise, it gets sticky and you get a very different kind of burnt milk smell. So you need to continuously stir once the milk starts to boil, and we're going to boil this till it reduces to about half of its quantity. That takes about roughly 10 minutes. Now this recipe does require a lot of patience, and it requires a lot of elbow grease or, really working out your hands. Now I've added the sugar after my milk has reduced to half, and we are going to stir till all of the milk dissolves. Now, once all the milk dissolves, we're going to add the cashew nut powder. So this is just a 3-ingredient recipe. And now all we have to do is just keep stirring on a low to medium flame with our wooden spoon. Now take a wooden spoon with a long handle. The reason being that, first of all, the heat is quite a bit. So, your hand shouldn't get really, hot and, with the steam and the heat coming out, you should keep yourself safe. Also, the heavy bottom pan is being used because it doesn't move, because there's a lot of stirring involved. If you use a lightweight vessel, it might topple, it might turn around, it might just keep on moving, which is quite a bother. So use a heavy bottom pan and a wooden spoon with a long handle, and all you have to do is just keep stirring on a low to medium flame. Now this entire process of stirring till I found that my mixture was completely ready took me exactly 35 minutes in total. I had put a timer on my phone, and I can know that was exactly 35 minutes of continuous stirring. And once your mixture starts to thicken, it will be a real fast procedure. Then it will just start thickening very, very quickly. It is just the initial stage that it takes some time for everything to get, to that particular stage. So you can take the help of some of your family members, friends in the stirring process, but the end result is really worth it. And you'll be so happy that you have made it yourself. And it's really, really so satisfying. So we're going to continuously stir. Now, what I like to do, to just kill time is listen to my favorite podcast or some lovely music, or just chat with your family. And, it happens so fast that you won't even realize that it's already been like 35 minutes. So keep yourself occupied. And don't forget to stir, because if you stop stirring, it might just, get a little bit on that burnt flavor. Now, if you want to see that your mixture is ready, just take a bowl of water and drop around 1/4 teaspoon. And if you're able to form a smooth ball easily, that means your mixture is ready. Now, I just like to stir for another 2 minutes. And then I'm going to turn off the flame, and we're going to transfer this mixture onto a steel plate or a glass plate, because that way it cools down faster. Now you can even just stir it a bit and let it cool completely. Don't be in a hurry to handle it, because it's really, really hot. Now once it is completely cool, just grease your hands with some ghee or some butter and just knead this to a very smooth dough, and then just make little balls and then insert them into the mold. Now, this kind of a mold is the ideal mold to be used for milk cream. It's a rubber mold and it's easily available. Now, I got mine from Crawford Market. As many of you who have been regularly watching all my videos and my shopping hauls and all know that I love to shop at Crawford because you get everything under one roof and pretty reasonable too. Now, I got this mold for just rupees 250, but it's worth it because it's a lifelong investment. Every Christmas, I'm going to be making milk cream for sure more than once. And so, it's really worth it. Now, you get the silicone molds, they're just 50 rupees, but I've used them in my past 2 milk cream recipes, but I was just not completely satisfied because I know this is the ideal mold and I was looking for it for the past 2 years and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I was so happy this time that I got the exact milk cream mold. And just demold them, and they have such pretty shell shapes, all little different shell shapes. And if any of your shapes don't really come out properly, just make them into a ball again and just insert them into the mold again and it'll be perfect. I remember my mom used to make these milk cream in this shell thing, and it was just divine. So I got exactly 106 milk creams from these measurements of all the ingredients that I used. So I hope you like today's recipe. It's so quick and it's so satisfying and it's so easy to make. So I hope you'll try out this recipe. Actually, this is the perfect recipe. You will not go wrong. So don't be afraid. I know the stirring does take a lot of effort, but it's worth it in the end. So let me hear from all of you what you think of this recipe, and once you'll try it out, I want to know how you and your family and friends liked it. So leave your comments down below. Also, don't forget to go and check out my channel. I've got loads and loads and loads of Christmas recipes. I will be leaving the link to each and every recipe that I've put up so far in my description box as well as the comment box. So just click the link, it will take you there. Thank you so much for watching. So friends, let's start with today's lovely chana DOCE recipe. Now here I've taken about 1.5 cup of chana dal. I've washed it thrice well under running water, and then we are going to soak it in about 3 cups of water for at least 5 to 6 hours. Now in the meantime, you can make some elaichi or cardamom powder. I've just taken 4 elaichis, peeled them and just made them into a powder in my mortar and pestle. This comes to about 1 teaspoon of elaichi powder. Now I'm going to transfer the soaked dal along with the water that we had soaked it in into a pressure pan. I'm going to add a pinch of salt, stir it in well, and then we're going to pressure cook this for 1 whistle on high and simmer for 10 minutes. Once the pressure pan is completely cooled, you'll see that the dal is nice and cooked, so you will just mash it down to, so that it's easier for us to grind it to a smooth paste. Now since we had soaked the dal, it cooks really very fast. Now I'm going to transfer this mashed dal to a mixer and I'm going to blend it to a very smooth paste. This is the consistency of the paste we are looking for. Now I'm also going to grind 3 cups of freshly grated coconut in the mixer. No water has to be added. This is how the ground coconut will look. Now I'm going to grease a baking tray, or you can use a regular tray with some ghee. And you can keep this aside. Now I'm going to add the cooked dal to a heavy bottomed pan. I'm also going to add the ground grated coconut. I'm going to mix both of them really well together. Now I'm cooking this on a low flame. I'm also going to add 2 cups of sugar and start stirring everything on a low to medium flame. I'm also going to add the elaichi powder or the cardamom powder and mix it in well. Now I'm just going to do a taste test just to see if the sugar is right, or if I need to add more sugar. Now I felt I needed to add a little bit of salt, so I just added a little salt to taste. And now we just have to stir this on a low to medium flame. Now after some time, about 3 or 4 minutes, you'll find that the mixture thickens and also it darkens in color. So just keep stirring this. So I timed myself in the entire process till it actually was ready. It took me about 15 minutes. I'm also using a wooden spoon with a long handle because it does tend to splutter a bit. Scrape off the sides also and keep stirring. Now you'll find after some time that the mixture becomes very difficult to stir. It becomes really stiff. But when you stir it, you see that it leaves the sides of the pan as well as the base of the pan very easily. So we are almost there. Now I'm just going to add about a tablespoon of ghee to this. And this makes the mixture really nice and smooth, and you're able to stir everything together, plus it adds a lovely flavor also. So now you can turn off the gas flame and just with the residue heat, just keep stirring it for about another half a minute or so. Now we're going to transfer this mixture onto the grease tray. You can even use a plate also, a steel plate. And now we're going to add a few drops of ghee, about say half a teaspoon or a teaspoon, and just flatten it out now using a spatula and just bring it to the thickness of the tray. It should be about half an inch of thickness, and then just smoothen the top of it with a spatula like this. The mixture is extremely hot, so be careful. And I'm just going to take a knife and just make this design just on the surface of the dose. Now generally it does have this design. If you see the dose, it has some diagonal lines, fine lines on it. Don't go all through to the base, just on the top. It's just a kind of a design. And now we're going to keep this covered with a dry kitchen cloth. I'm going to cover and keep this overnight or for at least 10 hours to set. That's very important that you set this for at least 10 hours. So after 10 hours, you'll see that the dose is all set and you'll find the top of it has hardened and set. It's not soft anymore. And then just cut it into the, the traditional diamond shape that the dose normally has. And it will look like this. So our chana dose is all ready to enjoy. You'll see that the top of it has hardened, whereas the center and the base is still soft and smooth. That's how the consistency should be. Now you can store this in an airtight container and for a day or two, and then refrigerate it after that preferably. And whenever you want to serve it, just thaw it for about 15. So for today's NEURIS recipe, I've taken 1 cup of plain flour or maida. This is 1/4 cup of fine rava or semolina, 1/4 cup of melted ghee or clarified butter, salt to taste, and approximately 1/4 cup of water. Now I'm going to add the flour as well as the rava or the semolina to a bowl, add some salt to taste and mix the three well. Now if you don't have fine semolina, just grind the medium semolina in your mixer pot. Now I'm going to add 7 teaspoons of hot ghee to this, and I'm going to crumble this mixture with my fingers till it starts to resemble breadcrumbs. So you should be able to hold the mixture like this. That means the ghee has nicely coated the flour. And now we're just going to add very little water at a time and just mix everything. We don't want a very soggy dough and we don't want a very dry dough. So just add a little water at a time. Mix all the dough really well. And now we're going to knead the dough for at least a whole minute, till the dough doesn't stick to your hands anymore. So just keep kneading it. This is very important that you knead the dough well, because we want a very flexible dough, and it shouldn't stick to your fingers or your hands as you're kneading it. So I'm going to add a few drops of the ghee again, and I'm just going to again knead it really, really well. So a whole minute at least you need to knead this dough. Now I'll show you a closer look of how the dough should be. It, if you poke your fingers or you press your fingers down on the dough, it should make a mark on the dough and it shouldn't bounce back like you would with a pizza dough. And now we're going to rest this dough for about 2 to 3 hours, which is also very important. Now we're going to start working on the filling. So here I've taken 4 cardamoms or elaichis. I'm just going to peel them, and then in my mortar and pestle I'm just going to grind them to a very, very fine powder. Now if you're using ready-made powder, you need about approximately 1 teaspoon. This really elevates the flavor of the filling. So once this is done, just set it aside. Now I'm going to roughly chop up some cashew nuts and some raisins, which are also called kishmish. We're just going to chop them up roughly. You could also add almonds. And we're going to set this aside. Now I'm going to use 1 cup of desiccated coconut, 1 cup of powdered sugar, 1 tablespoon of poppy seeds or khaskhas. This is the same elaichi powder that we just finely ground, and the chopped cashew nuts and raisins. So this is going to be our filling. So first I'm going to dry roast the desiccated coconut on a very, very low flame, continuously stirring it till you get a very light brown color and you get this lovely aroma of the coconut. Now once that is done, you're going to transfer this to a bowl. Now wipe your pan clean, and again you're going to roast the poppy seeds for very little, just about half a minute, and then you're going to transfer that to the bowl in which we have transferred the coconut. So this doesn't have to be fried or roasted very long, just a little bit, and transfer it to the bowl. Again wipe your pan, and now we're going to dry roast the cashew nuts and the raisins, and again transfer that to the bowl. So now we finish with roasting. Now we're just going to add the cardamom powder that we ground, and we're going to give this a good mix. And now I'm going to add the powdered sugar and mix all of this really, really well. Now I'm going to transfer this mixture back to the pan on a very low flame, and I'm going to roast this till the sugar starts to melt and you get, a little bit of a light brown kind of a filling. So this should take you about half a minute or so. And even the color of the filling will become a little light golden brown, and you'll get this beautiful aroma of the coconut. So set this aside, and now we'll start on the dough. So I'm going to make small balls like this, which have to be really smooth without any cracks in them. And then I'm just going to roll out the ball like this. You're not going to add any flour to our rolling board because our dough is so easy to work with. You should be able to lift this once you have rolled it out like this. Now I'm just going to take a teaspoon of the filling. Don't take too much of the filling, or don't take too less also. About a teaspoon should do. And then just dab some water on, half of the circle. Just put all the filling together in the center, and then just fold one side onto the other like this. Now you got to seal the edges really, really well. This is very, very important, because if you don't do that, then when you go to deep fry these neuris, they're just going to crack open and all the filling is going to go into the oil, and it's going to be a real fiasco. And then just cut off the edges like this. If you don't have a cutter like this, you can just use a pizza cutter or regular knife, and then just dab this design down. That's also optional, and then you get this beautiful neuri. So this is one way of doing it. I'll just show you a few more designs. So this is the same design. I'm just showing it to you again. Now if you don't have this kind of a cutter, you can also make a design with a fork by just pressing down the fork on, once you have cut off the extra edges. And then this is another design where I'll just show it to you. So once you've done this part, then you just pick, fold to one side, and pick, fold to the other side, and you get this kind of a design. And then there's one design where you don't cut off the excess, you just dab down the wheel of the cutter and then just make a rough kind of a design if you don't want to cut off the excess and you like the crispy ends. And one is where you just cut off the excess and just leave it at that without making any other designs. So there are lots and lots of ways of making these neuris. Each family definitely has their own special way of making it. So that's it. And then once all your neuris are done, you're just going to heat up your oil. Now you can just put a ball of the dough into the oil to test if the oil is ready. And once the ball comes up like this and turns brown, you know your oil is all ready. So you just put the neuris into the pan. Don't overcrowd the pan. And then just fry them till they're nice and golden brown in color. And drain off the excess oil onto some kitchen napkins, and that's it, friends. Your neuris are all ready to enjoy. They're really crispy and crunchy, and the filling also is really yummy. So I hope you give this recipe a try. So I've taken 2 eggs in a bowl and I'm going to whisk it very well. To this, I'm going to be adding half a cup of powdered sugar. Now we're going to add about half a cup of milk and we're going to continue whisking. Now we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence or vanilla extract. Now goes in 1 cup of coconut milk. We're going to now add half a cup of rice flour and we're going to whisk this till we get a nice smooth batter. Next goes in 1 cup of maida or all-purpose flour and we're going to continue whisking by adding a little maida at a time, but we want to get a nice and smooth batter. And once our batter is ready, we're going to set it aside and let it rest for at least an hour. Now, after our batter has rested for an hour, we're going to heat some oil for deep frying these roast cookies. Now, we get a mold like this. We're going to put it into the hot oil and heat it for about a minute. And then we're going to dip it just halfway into our batter and we're going to leave it again in the hot oil. Now, if you do this, you will see that as the roast cookie gets fried in this oil, it will just come off from the mold itself. Now, if it doesn't, you can just take a sharp knife or any sharp instrument or a fork and just help the process of, releasing the roast cookie from the mold like this. You can just push it down. It comes out very, very easily. Now, the things that you have to remember is that your mold should always be dipped into hot oil first and then into the batter. And then you have to just leave it in the hot oil till it releases the roast cookie by itself, or you can just help it out with a fork or a sharp instrument. And then we're just going to fry them till they're a nice light golden brown color. Now these roast cookies get ready really quickly, so you need to keep an eye on them because they get fried very fast and sometimes they can really burn and turn into a dark brown, which doesn't really look very appetizing. So you need to keep an eye on them and you need to fry them till they're nice and golden brown in color. Now you're going to drain the excess oil on a kitchen towel or a kitchen napkin. And once these roast cookies come down to room temperature, they are so crispy and so delicious. It's really, really worth making them for Christmas, and they really look so pretty on the Christmas tray. So from the batter that I made, I got about 25 roast cookies. because the mold also is a little bit smaller. You get different shaped molds. You get the bigger ones also, so you might get a little less, about 20 or so. But they're really worth making, and I was so happy because they really turned out beautiful. So I hope you try this out this Christmas, and do let me know in the comments box below as to how your recipe turned out. You can also send me pictures of the rose cookies that you make on my Facebook page. I am very active on Facebook under the name Akshatas Recipes, or you can also send me pictures on Instagram under the same name, Akshatas Recipes. So I've uploaded many more recipes this year. I've uploaded a coconut layered cake recipe. I've uploaded the traditional Bolinhas recipe, which is coconut cookies. That too is worth making, and it's not that difficult. Then I've also put up some milk toffee, and I've put up many more recipes, and I have so much more to put up and share with all of you. I have been on YouTube for the past 2 years, so you can go and check out my last year and the year before Christmas sweets. All you have to do is go to my main page, Akshata's Recipes. Over there, you will see something called a playlist. So you click on that and you just see Christmas, and you'll get all the recipes. And even below this video, I have put a link for... I put a link for all my recipes for Christmas. So be sure to go and check them out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye. Loads of recipes on my channel, so go and check them out. I will leave a link of all my recipes that I've put up for the past 2 years, for the past 2 Christmases. You'll find all the links in my description box below. So I hope you enjoyed today's recipe, and I hope you will give it a try. Do let me know in the comments box below what you thought of today's recipe, and don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up by hitting the thumbs up icon. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Do share my recipes with family and friends, and be sure to go and check out Akshata's Recipes. I have loads and loads of recipes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video. Take care. Bye.